Hello and welcome to the thought for today. So today we celebrate the Feast of Pentecost, which is taken from the Jewish festival of weeks, the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and was given the name Pentecost because it occurred 50 days after the end of the spring Passover festival. Jesus observed the Passover festival with his disciples before he was crucified, and the first Christians continued to observe Pentecost, which fell on the 50th day of the season, beginning on Easter Sunday. At Easter, Jesus told the disciples to wait in Jerusalem for what his Father had promised, and Pentecost saw the fulfillment of that promise of power from on high. Now, the Old Testament book of Deuteronomy connects Pentecost to the Passover. In offering the first fruits of the harvest, the people were to remember that they had cried out to the Lord when they had suffered in Egypt. He heard them and took them out of Egypt to deliver them to the promised land. In Egypt, their cry for help rose upwards to God, who then called to Moses from the burning bush and told him that he had heard their cry and would deliver them. And God led the people through the desert by using a pillar of cloud and fire. And on their journey, Moses brought the people to the foot of Mount Sinai, which God shrouded in cloud so that he could give the first laws to Moses. And from the first century, the giving of the tablets of the law on Sinai was celebrated at the Jewish Pentecost, and the Christian festival of Pentecost celebrates what is written with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on the tablets of human hearts. You can read that in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 3. Now, God's presence on Mount Sinai was identified by cloud. It was identified by a pillar of smoke and cloud that descended from heaven and showed the way through the desert. It was also identified by the wind blowing. And today we can identify it by the wind and the fire of the Holy Spirit that was sent down from heaven to empower the followers of Jesus. As well as these, we also have the symbol of the dove. When Jesus was baptized by John, the clouds opened, and the Holy Spirit descended upon Jesus in the form of a dove. So that is why at Pentecost, you very often see the symbols of fire, wind, and a dove, all representing the Holy Spirit. It was on this day that the disciples were given the gift of the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, the Counselor. In the Bible, you can read about this in the New Testament book of Acts, chapter 2, verses 1 to 21. And there we read how the Holy Spirit descended upon the disciples as tongues of fire and gave them the ability to speak in different languages. Those who subsequently heard them speaking in their own languages were from the four corners of the then known world radiating out from Jerusalem. In itself, this is a sign that the gospel was to be spread all over the world by the disciples, and they had all been given the ability, the gift to do so. As we know today, the Bible has been translated into many different languages and has been read all over the world. As a result of this, we should be celebrating the fact that Christians come from many different countries, that they speak many different languages, and that we have all been given different gifts. And the main thing that we should be celebrating is that there is unity in our diversity, for we all worship the same God and should be striving to follow in the footsteps of Jesus and obeying his will. Now today, I'm sure not many of us will witness the Holy Spirit descending on people in flames, but some of us may well witness the shaking of the body or people dancing in the Spirit as they are touched by it in services. But this does not mean that we are unaffected, because it does affect us. And just because many of us may never experience such outward signs of the Spirit, that doesn't mean that the Spirit is not there. It merely means that the Spirit will show itself in different ways in different people. Now, In the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 22, we are told that there are 9 different fruits or gifts of the Spirit. And these are they. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I wonder which one of those comes more easily to you than the others. Now, of course, Jesus never said that following him would be easy, and at times it quite often isn't. So he sent us the Spirit to be our counsellor, to be the Spirit of truth, who will abide within us forever. And Jesus also left us his peace. He says in John chapter 14, verse 27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." We should all be comforted by those words and try and remember them always. And also remember that the Holy Spirit lives with us and will always be in us, to teach us and to guide us and to remind us of all those things that Jesus did for us, is doing for us, and will do for us in the future. Thank you for listening. Until the next time, God bless you all. Goodbye.